Hi y'all, this is Larry from Deep South Texas, and today we're going to make farmhouse cheddar. It's a stirred curd cheddar, which is different from a normal cheddar, which is you cheddar a different process. It's supposed to be easier to make, and it's supposed to taste just as good. So why don't we follow along and see how this cheese was made. So we're using 3 gallons of whole milk. Just putting the last gallon in the pot here. And then we will put this double boiler on the stove and heat this milk to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, my milk has reached 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And now we're going to add in 1 packet of this Mesophillic culture. So we'll just sprinkle that on top. And we'll let that set for 5 minutes to rehydrate. And then we'll stir it in. And after we get it stirred in, then we will wait for 45 minutes for the culture to acidify the milk. So the culture has been in the milk for 45 minutes. It should be fully acidified. Now we're going to add some other ingredients. First we're going to add a half a teaspoon of annatto that's been mixed in a 1/4 cup of water. Then 3/4 of a teaspoon of calcium chloride. That's also been mixed in a 1/4 cup of water. And 3/4 of a teaspoon of rennet that has also been mixed in a 1/4 cup of water. Let's do that now. We'll put the annatto in first. This is really not usually done for farmhouse cheddar, but I like a little bit of color in my cheddar cheese, so I'm putting it in. This is totally optional. You don't have to add this at all. It just adds a little bit of color. Now we're going to add the calcium chloride. And we put this in the milk because our milk has been pasteurized, and it helps add back something that's destroyed by the pasteurization. Helps the curd set up a little bit better than if you don't add it. And finally, we'll add the rennet. And the rennet is what sets the milk into a curd. So we stir this for 1 minute and then stop because the rennet is working already. And then we let it set for 45 minutes and check to see if the curd has set. It's been 45 minutes. Let's check to see if our milk has set up into a curd. Oh yeah, it's really good. So now we're going to cut the curd into 1/2 inch cubes. First we'll go this way, and then this way, and then diagonally. So we'll get back to you when that's done. So the curds have been cut. Now we're going to let them rest for 5 minutes to heal up a little bit, and then we will put them back on the double boiler and begin heating them slowly from 90 degrees to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, I did check the temperature just before I cut the curds, and it had dropped to 89, which is not a problem. So we'll let these heal up, and then we'll begin heating them up. So the curds have healed up. Now we'll begin stirring very gently. As we stir and heat the curds, they will begin to release whey and shrink up. And also at this point, if we see any large curds, we'll cut them with the spoon. They cut very easily right now, which is why you stir so gently at this point. And we'll be heating these up over the next 45 minutes to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, I've been stirring for 45 minutes, and the curds have certainly shrunk and given off a lot of whey. That's what they look like now. Now, we're going to let them set for a few minutes and sink to the bottom. And then we're going to drain off a little bit of whey, maybe a pint or so. And then continue to maintain this temperature and stir so the curds don't mat together. And we'll do that 3 or 4 times over the next hour. So it's been about an hour. We've been stirring just enough to keep the curds from matting on the bottom of the pan, and we've been removing whey every 15 minutes or so. That's what the curds look like now. So now it's time to drain the curds. So I've taken a cheesecloth lined colander. I put it over top of the bottom of my double boiler to collect the whey. And we're going to pour the rest of the whey in the curds. Now we're going to let those curds drain for 30 minutes. And again, they're draining over the hot whey, so they should stay warm. We'll put a lid on top just to try to keep them warm. Well, the curds have been draining for a half hour. It's time to move them back into the original pan and salt them. We're going to break them up a little bit. Into about thumb-sized pieces. And then we're going to add 3 tablespoons of salt. This is non-iodized salt. And then we'll get that salt milled into the cheese curds. The curds are still relatively warm, and that's good. Still got some bigger pieces in here I'm breaking up. So the curds are all in the mold. We'll fold over the cheesecloth over the top. Put on the follower and get this into the cheese press. All right. Let's get that in the press. Make sure it's centered up, and then we're going to hang this off the arm. Put about 15 pounds of weight on it, and we'll leave that there for a half an hour. Well, the cheese has been in the press for a half an hour. It's time to take it out and flip it. See what it looks like here. It's not all knit together yet. But not too bad. So we'll put it back in the cheesecloth, back in the mold after we flip it over, and put it back in the press. So it's important to pull the cheesecloth as tight as you can, keep the wrinkles out of the cheese, both for aesthetic purposes, and also wrinkles are a place where mold seems to like to form, so try to keep it as smooth as possible. And we're going to put that back in the press for 1 hour at 25 pounds. Then I will take it out, flip it again, put it back in the press for 1 hour at 50 pounds, take it out, flip it again, put it back in the press overnight at 140 pounds. Well, good morning, you all. Our farmhouse cheddar has been in the press overnight with 140 pounds of weight on it. It's time to take it out and see what we've got. I'm just finishing up my morning coffee. So let's get it out of the press. Now, because I used quite a bit of weight, I put a second smaller follower on top to protect the follower that goes with this this mold, because this one's kind of thin, and with that much weight it tends to deform that follower. So let's get it out. And there it is. I don't see any bad wrinkles. A few on the top, but they'll come out as it air dries. Looks like a pretty nice cheese. So I weighed the cheese just out of the press, and it weighs 3 pounds, 7 ounces. Now we're going to let this cheese air dry for 2 or 3 days, and then we'll put it in the cheese cave. The temperature in the cheese cave is 12 to 13 degrees centigrade or Celsius and 54 degrees Fahrenheit. Now this is Farmhouse Cheddar. I did put some Annatto in it, which is not normal for Farmhouse Cheddar, but I think it looks pretty good. This is the first Farmhouse Cheddar I've made, so I'm really interested to see how cheddary it is when it's done. And it should be ready in about 3 months. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that thumbs up. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time.